Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about Autocovers because it feels like a little bit early, but we're back in pool season. We are so busy. Poor Eric is sending out like 10 quotes a day on pools and ICF houses, and he is just killing it. But I wanted to talk about Aquatic real quick. We just came off training in the last week of February, and this particular training, Jeff, our normal rep that comes in for all of our trainings, he was busy, so the president of the company, Tom, came. I'll show you a quick clip of him demoing the durability of the cover. In the near future, I'm going to cut that long. We probably had an hour where me and him showed off this cover, and I'm going to cut it up into digestible bites and make a video out of that, but it takes a little bit of time. But just remember that Aquamatic's been a great partner of ours. They fully understand ICF and the way these pools work, to where if you tell them you're building one of our pools or you're building our style pool, they know that they've designed a special tailpiece back here that's longer to make up for the thicker wall. And just a lot of little nuances they just implicitly understood from day one. Obviously, the Aquamatic Hydromatic cover, this is called a Hydromatic. It runs in a rail that you get with the kit, and you get the part that holds the ropes, and then the shim to keep it all locked together and make it hold together. This is their most typical cover. They've got really fancy, like tile paver lids that you can upgrade to. And ultimately, this is by far their biggest seller. It's their original. I think they've got 35 patents that are still valid on this cover that makes it so much different and better than the Cover Stars and the Cover Pools of the world. Hydraulic drive, really, really quiet, really, really robust system. But today, I'm going to take you to the pool that won second 2 years ago at World of Concrete. We're really proud of it, and the cover that's on it is called the Hydrolux. It's the ultra luxury version of what Aquamatic sells. It's a floating cover without rails. It is capable of being shaped into different shapes. It's capable of fitting odd geometries like round pools, kidney pools, depending. It can have a well in the back like this one, but it would be wet. Instead of having a dry well where the cover rolls up and sits in a dry well, it's actually part of the pool. It's full of water. The cover floats inside of this, and I'm going to show you that. Or it can have a wet well that's down in the floor. It's significantly more expensive, but for certain architectural avenues, it's the only way to skin the cat. So it'll come up out of the floor. Sometimes it actually has two rolls that spread and go both ways. So if you have a weird shape, it can just go to the widest point and they'll go both ways. It is the neatest cover. And I finally get to bring you guys one. I'm going to take you out there right now and show you all the aspects of that cover. Just remember, guys, you just tell them at Aquamatic, you just hit them up and tell them you're building an ICF Guru pool. They'll know exactly how to accommodate you. Jeff and Tom, I can't thank them enough for being just killer partners in the pool game, the ICF game. Hey guys, today I want to show you the ultra high-end version of the Aquamatic cover systems. This one is called the Hydrolux. This is a little bit different than the typical hydraulic rail system covers that they sell, called the Hydromatic, that we sell hundreds of per year. That, it's a beautiful fabric cover, very, very smooth, silent operation. It uses a similar pump and a similar drive mechanism that's hydraulic. But the difference in this one is it's a floating slat cover. I'll kind of come down here. It's also remote driven. So you'll see it start to retract in the background. It's completely quiet and almost stealthy the way it moves. You don't even notice it. But it's a floating slat system. Let me give you the benefits first, and I'll give you a couple downsides. First benefit is it actually is highly insulated for a cover. Most of these auto covers, they're a vinyl coated nylon. They are super durable, but they don't have an R value per se. Their thermal benefits are in keeping evaporation to almost zero, so you don't lose any of that evaporative cooling out of the top of the pool, which is significant. This thing actually has an R6. These floating slats are hollow PVC, so they're actually kind of almost like a vacuum thermos. They've got an air gap that has a lot more thermal retention than a typical pool cover. That's its number one the number two thing that's really awesome about it is this is a 3-sided infinity edge. This cover is not on a rail system, so you can do fancier pools that are odd shapes. They have a version of this pool cover that comes out of the floor, so even if it's a kidney-shaped pool or some other thing, they'll just go to the fattest point on the pool. They'll have a well, and the cover can actually come out and go both ways, so it can fit round pools, everything else. Now that brings me to the one downside is this is a more costly cover. This is a pretty expensive cover. Follow me over here, you can watch it close the rest of the way. But this cover is about double what a typical Hydrolux or Hydromatic Autocover would be. But for the certain architectural features that it enables, that's kind of worth it. The ones that come out of the floor are even more than that. And the other part of that is if you get the floor well instead of the wet well on the end of the pool like this one, it will be proprietary installation, meaning you have to fly the crew from Aquatic out to do the installation, which some people opt to do anyway because they're super professional at it. I will say another upside to this cover is it's actually easier to install than the Hydromatics. There's no rails. It's got a really, really robust drum. It's got a lot. I mean, it's got a wet well. It's actually floating inside of the well, and that well is part of the. I'll take you back over here since it's opening now, but it's the wet well is actually part of the pool. It has main drains and a return to keep water circulating under the pool deck in the well so it doesn't go stagnant and grow stuff. But so it's a more complex build, but the actual installation of the cover takes half the time of a Hydromatic. So there's benefits and there's good things and there's bad things, but for the ultra high-end pools, this cover is so slick. The Tom, the president of Aquatic, was kind enough to come to our last training, and we brought everybody over here, and there's freaking snow everywhere. But he was super cool to come here, and he said these are actually used in all the U.S. embassies. Just kind of a little fun fact. This is the cover that go in a lot of the really, high-end fancy places around the world. Just remember, guys, for ICF pools, Aquatic is one of our very favorite partners to deal with. You can hit them up anytime you're building an ICF pool or any pool for that matter, and tell them, you're building one with the ICF guru, whatever. You get kind of special treatment and special pricing, but also they know a few little details about the kind of pools we do. For instance, they have developed a longer tailpiece for the regular Hydromatics that make it fit the back side of the pool going to the well better. They're used to having about a 4-inch thick steel wall or vinyl wall, polymer wall, and we have a 12-inch thick ICF wall. They just instantly, without us even having to say anything, kind of intuitively grasped that they needed to modify their typical systems to work perfectly with ICF. They did that. It's gone great. And yeah, so that's really what I'll say about Aquatic, guys. I kind of wanted to get a new video up as we're going into the pool season, and we like to keep them super busy with our pools. But this is the first time I've gotten to show you the Hydrolux, and it is just super, super neat. So, okay, guys, so just kind of trying to show you this, how smooth it works. See, the waterfall, the infinity edge is actually running. You can run waterfalls and water features with this cover because it's not truly waterproof like the Hydromatics. Water, rainwater, everything else just runs through it. Because it's not on rails, it can run around it and get back into the pool. So it's a super slick cover, really high-end look and feel because it's so quiet. But yeah, I just kind of want to show you from a few different angles. So I'm not sure I'll be able to get these off by myself, but the main mechanism here, guys, is a very robust stainless steel drum that floats in the water. And I'll try to show you guys in here. If I can, I'll drop my Osmo down in the water and actually show it operating. And I'll overlay this video. But basically, we have a stainless steel rail running through here that provided by others typically, and some brackets going back this way holding it up. So that covers up a well that effectively ends up being at least like 30 inches square. 30 inches back and 30 inches down. I think we made this one about as deep as the pool just because it was easier. So it's a little more water than it needs to be. And then over here, we have a dry well where the typical Hydromatic or the Aquatic hydraulic mechanism sits. You have a dry motor here that's hydraulic drive spinning this either way, and that's what reels and contracts. It's actually elegantly simple for such a high-end cover. Like I said, guys, we just love Aquatic. They're one of our favorite partners. They've been nothing but good to us, and we try to keep them very busy. So just a little aside to the reason we like them so much, we were talking about it at training this week, specifically about the Hydromatics. Everyone knows they from the outside looking in, they look very much like Coverstar cover pools until you see the mechanisms, the fact that Hydromatic is hydraulic drive and they are all electric drive. That the mechanisms and the 35 patents that they have, nobody else has, and everybody just assumes that's going to make their covers considerably more expensive. But because cover pools and Coverstar are all forced distribution through the big two distributors about pool stuff in the market, they actually have a middleman that causes them to, generally speaking, be more expensive than Aquatic. Aquatic is buyer direct. We just throw you guys a name, and you call, it'll literally be Jeff almost every time, one guy, and he takes the incoming from all of you guys and gets you to the right people at the company. They take your order, they ship you everything, comes right out of California. Many of the parts are American made, and it's just an awesome American company that kills. The quality is second to none, and we just can't say enough good things about them.